Something much larger and stranger is going to be activated by this dome that we're not paying attention to. And due to this law enforcement source I talked to, and basically an ex-military source, we need to see every layer of this and investigate it to know what's going to happen larger in our population.
Golden Dome is a bold and aggressive approach to hurry up and protect the homeland from our adversaries.
I looked deeper and found that they need to use a specific type of force in order to activate this dome. First, we need to listen to E4 specialist Terry, who talked to me and led me down a different, deeper rabbit hole about this dome.
Allowing this concoction of toxic chemicals to break the blood barrier, brain barrier, and deactivate the pineal gland. And it's the most sensitive part of our nervous system. And they know this. If your nervous system is damaged, that causes all kinds of problems. It's all also connected to the Project Bluebeam and
definitely.
what they call the space fence.
What? Space fence?
The space fence, I don't know if you've heard of that.
No, I haven't. What's that?
It's United States Air Force and Lockheed Martin built this for, say it was for space debris, but it'll have the capability to surveil the entire planet. And this is why Trump's talking about them spending $500 billion for AI infrastructure, because this is going to be like Skynet and Terminator. It's designed to operate in a low orbit, designed to be one interconnected machine run by AI interacting with cell towers to create a giant wireless network that's manipulated through ionization of the atmosphere, which is what they're doing when they spray chemtrails. It also enhances holographic imagery a la Bluebeam. And they ionize the atmosphere with HAARP.
Question is, how would this dome actually be deployed, and what will happen when they activate the? We'll get to that in a second. But when I look at how will it be deployed, will we see it? Will it be in broad day? Well, I look at the predictive programming, and maybe they'll be doing something like this. And it's not just about protecting us from adversaries, like they say. They're going to use it for this as well. And what people haven't thought about is what's going to happen once our atmosphere is closed off by a dome. Before we get to the full plan that'll be activated in the skies being talked about nowhere else, the guy who originally wanted this plan, let's look at what he said. A climate control dome. And this opens up the field to the electromagnetic force they're going to be using for the Golden Dome. A law enforcement source told me that Homeland Security had a meeting. And in this meeting, they said they didn't need to quarantine us. They could just put giant domes over certain parts of the cities and close it off at a radius to where they wanted to trap people based off of what they deemed fit. This interaction could come from the internal electromagnetic spectrum inside of the domes that they release. Now, I know some of you thinking like, oh, this is outrageous. What is he talking about? And then other you like, well, I can see that happening. Let's show you though, because again, they were doing stuff pre-scripted, but we have photo evidence that you can see right here. So that pretty much confirms what my law enforcement source said. Now, the electromagnetic situation. How in the heck are we going to interact with something electromagnetic? What's going to be activated and how is it going to keep us in? Let's look at that right now. Most likely the force will be electromagnetically controlled, and you'll see an entrance right there. This entrance, you will not be able to get in or out of it without the electromagnetism device, or knowing how to shut down electromagnetism if it's not just glass, because that's usually what's controlling the device system. One thing is for sure, that something very important we need to know, and that's what is the hertz or gigahertz of this electromagnetic golden dome. Because once we find that out, we'll know what happens to the sky, the birds, the animals, us, and everything at large. And that's why I looked into this and found out what actually was the situation. And that is 3.45 GHz to 7 and 8 GHz bands should be fenced off from the public auction, so as to ensure that Golden Dome can be built and America's intelligence agencies can stay ahead of their competition in China and Russia. So this means that they can heat the tissue even more, fragment the DNA even more, tap into the energy systems of the dome via the human body, is what they're actually going to be doing. And on the second front, something else largely starts to begin. So here's what really starts to affect people. And if you look here, this is Florida, where the sun is literally being blocked out, but not at the expansive rate of what we're going to see. The domes, once it's initiated, look right here. Domes have a way of controlling climate. They block sunlight entering a place or building. This is what they're going to do, and this is going to really start to block the sun plan. So now you see point 1 connected. Here's point 2 that's going to be connected. People are largely going to get more sick because electromagnetism, and 2, less sunlight. So 3, what you can do right now to get ahead of everybody else is ramp up on getting vitamin D3 tinctures, looking in sources of getting vitamin D3 through food, growing stuff with vitamin D3. This is going to be a huge commodity moving forward from 2025. And I promise you, the market is going to skyrocket there. What else are we going to see in this pivotal turn? We're also going to see the new interaction of technology to make our sky not even look realistic anymore, where they can alter certain things and make us see things through this dome that's not even there. We will have a shield protection from like missiles and everything else, but the other scenarios might outweigh all the so-called protection. Obviously, don't you think? Here's the much more larger scale picture you're not getting. 3.5 GHz is part of the C-band that the military uses for 5G. So it'll be a big giant 5G freaking dome all the way over us. What is going to happen to people though under this continuous cell tower and dome situation? We could see them increase, agitated, lethargic, distracted, neurochemical balance shift. And it says aggressively. The birds, the bees, all the animals, totally confused navigation systems disconnected from the magnetic grid, because this thing will have electromagnetic energy messing with the signals given from God to supply them with how to move around. So we could start to see patterns like deers in places they're not supposed to be, bears in places they're not supposed to be. You could see a lot of wildlife disruption. Then there becomes this group think situation, because the EMFs at this specific rate that we're going to be at could help entrain certain brainwave states, nudging people towards more of a hive mind scenario. So this will actually increase that ability for them to start to be more different and strange, not just because they took that, but now because it's all interacting together in this basically energy dome that we're inside of. And so now you're like, well, dang, how much time do I have to even before this happens? So we ain't got much time. They state in the official plan, if you look right here, that they want to deploy this by the end of next year, which is the end of 2026. They're not going to tell us when they put this thing up. We're just going to wake up And all of a sudden, the sunlight is going to be darker. The animals might be acting weirder. Things will be much more strange. And you'll know for a fact it's there, I think, innately inside of you because of how we're connected to the sunlight, the energy, and everything else. We will know that it's up there. Our bodies will obviously react in a way that we haven't felt before because we're sunlight beings, because God put all the stuff here and it's part of the magnetic compass. This could also affect circadian rhythms as well once they do this. So we're really going to have to go under higher protectionism as far as copper, nickel, silver type of material to have in your house and around everything that you know of that will project the manifestation of this energy. And I think that once they do this on a spiritual level, this will be how they try to bring in certain entities at a higher rate. So being much more spiritually aligned, clearing your body out and mind is going to be so much important. And here's the other big key picture to it all. Once the thing is activated, my research said that this is what will happen, and they are doing it under the guise of this. So in that form, it sounds like magnetically controlled people through every bit of technology that they put in them. This is honestly one of the final phases of the chapter. In real time, we're going to be following all the updates. You need to stick around here. We're going to be giving much more of what to do before this happened, but now we have an official, real operational plan here that we need to actually engage our own community, engage our family, engage anybody possible to let them see this Golden Dome plan, the real full layout, historically, from the levels of scientific evidence, from the levels of spiritually, the implications, everything I have laid out here is a blueprint for society. And it's up to you to share this to as many people as possible, because this ain't just a video. This is real life. And don't forget, this is crazy critical evidence they don't want people to see.